right, time for one of the coolest transitions in which we're going to use the X guard to the back. There is a way that this has always been taught that fundamentally, at a conceptual level, I think is quite flawed. Rob is the only instructor I've seen actually teach it like this before, so I think you guys will think it's really cool. But the traditional way of taking the back from X guard is this leg lifts up, we bring the leg over, we plant our opponent back into base, we grab, we kick them forward. It works, and it works very well, and it works especially well in the gi because we have the ability to really anchor onto our opponent. But from a conceptual level, what we're doing is lifting our opponent's foot off the mat to compromise their base, which then breaks down their alignment and creates vulnerability. Once I bring his leg over and I let his leg plant back into the mat, I'm technically giving him back his base. So somebody who doesn't panic within the situation, you'll see guys like Keenan Cornelius end up in the situation with their back turned, but they're still quite comfortable here. Because now Kevin has posture, structure, and base because I gave it back to him. And so he's going to be able to start grabbing my feet as levers and battling me here. He might even be able to start getting his legs over top of my knees, going into like a reverse mount all the way to north-south, or just running away. So in no-gi, it becomes much harder to make that a viable option. What we're going to do is the same thing, but we just want to think about keeping our opponent's leg off the mat the whole time so that we never give them back base. As I'm here, lifted the leg up, I'm going to, because this leg is light now, I can move it around however I want. So this is just a lever for you guys to move whatever kind of grips you want, preferably down to the end of the lever, but you'll be able to even just take it with your hand and lift it. If he's got weight into both his feet, there's no way in hell I can lift the leg right now, so make sure that we compromise our opponent's base first. Here I bring it over, and a lot of different ways of doing this. One way that I like to do it is I plant my elbow into the mat and I'll have his leg supported on top of my hand. I make sure that I'm supporting it more into the palm of my hand, right above my wrist, rather than out at my fingers, where now it's creating this lever access right to my wrist and it's going to hurt my fingers. And I make sure especially that I'm keeping his weight into his back leg, because if I go here, take the weight away and he starts driving back in, this is where a potential wrist injury could occur. But I can also just keep this lifted with both of my hands. I can start using my forearms. And all I'm going to do is, rather than give him back his base, is I'm just going to keep him in the air like a cat playing with a ball of yarn, where I'm just going to bring my hook right in. So I'm bringing my hook right to the inside of his knee, and I'm just not letting him touch the mat, and I'm coming up to grab at his hips. I can grab the hips themselves, I can grab the belt, I can grab the top of the gi, and while that leg doesn't make contact, then I sit him forward. As I sit him forward, I keep my legs extended, so we just turn slightly. I keep my legs extended so that there's tension in his legs where I'm opening his legs outwards. Like here, I have my toes pointed up into the insides of his calves, and then my knees are closing, so I'm creating pressure, flaring his legs outward, but then also pinching on the hips. So here, if Kevin tries to get his legs out, I still have quite a lot of rotational control of his body, rather than say, just sitting like this, where now if Kevin starts to turn into me, we're gonna have this battle. So we'll just do one from the sideways angle. So as I'm here, if I can't get his hands to plant into the mat because he's got really good base and he's constantly driving into me, this would be a good time to look at that back take. If his hands plant into the mat, I can always do the technical stand-up sweep. Here, he's not letting me. He's quite technical in this area. So I bring the leg over and I sit him down. From here, I immediately start setting up my seat belt, my motorcycle grip. I can go straight into a choke, because I have secondary control of his hips here. This is my primary control where I can start to solidify the position. Then I can take my hooks and put them into the proper placement. Here with the back turn. So, shift the center of gravity, make the leg light, bring the leg over. Don't let his leg touch the mat. As soon as he sits down, straight into a choke. I could finish him here with just this control, or I can fall to my strong side. So, same back take that A lot of you guys probably already know it's a super cool submission or a super cool transition to the back into a potential submission, and it looks really cool. So it's one of those things that fundamentally, I think there was one short problem with it that Rob opened my eyes to. Try and keep your opponent out of base the entire time, and I think you're going to have a lot more success with this transition.